I'm going to pull this out at some point during our interview with Chad Graves today.
This is Auto Collabs.
I've been telling him for years that what?
It's the weirdest podcast intro ever.
I've been telling him for years that he looks exactly like my brother-in-law.
Wow.
And I've never shown him a picture, and I got to dig up a picture. If I can remember, I got to dig up a picture. I'm going to show him a picture of my brother-in-law and see if you guys can see it as well.
Okay.
If you can't see it, then it's not real. But if there's any slight chance,
well, don't show us. We need to be surprised.
We'll be surprised.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, look, we're good. If you don't know who Chad Graves is, he's one of the best people in this industry. One of the very first people I met. Dude. He and the team at Reunion are just strike me as people who are always have a smile. They're always ready to serve. And boy, have they been resilient through all the changes we've seen in SEO over the last decade. So we hope you enjoy this conversation we're going to have with Chad Graves, and we're going to see if he looks like Michael Cirillo's brother-in-law. Chad, you're no stranger to this show or this ecosystem or this audience. It's so good to be here with you again today.
Absolutely, guys. So great to be here again. I love getting on this show as often as I can. I feel like we're averaging like once a year at least right now.
It's a pretty steady cadence.
Which is perfect, right? Perfect rhythm to be in. So appreciative of being on here with you guys as always.
And I can't say this for sure. I have to go back and check the record, but I'm pretty sure every time I'm with you on a podcast, I feel the need to tell the story about how at my first auto event, which was the CBT, like the full one, not like I was at the Auto News Retail Forum for a day, but I was at CBT's in Atlanta. I didn't know anybody. And our mutual friend, Brad Pascal, he introduced me to you and Dave, and you all were so nice to me. And you're like, come to dinner with us. I didn't know anybody,
about, man. I mean,
and I remember immediately feeling like, if these are the people I've been missing out on, I can't wait to get deeper in the broader industry. Nice. So I literally remember the table. I remember where everybody was sitting, and I asked Kyle and Michael, I'm not good with details.
I get it, man. It's I remember it too. And probably 7-8 years ago.
Easy.
8 years
ago?
Easily.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of just a testament to what we want to do, right? And collaborate and figure out people with like minds and go from there. And I think we both sensed it even from the get-go, which is, I think, even more awesome.
And I love that we're here. Our obviously our lives have changed a lot. The companies have changed a lot.
Most definitely.
ASOTU didn't even exist. We have children that didn't exist amongst all of us. Life has changed, but I think despite all the change, despite all the ups and downs of business in the industry, I think it's real testament to this undercurrent of people who are serving the industry and industry partners who are serving the industry with this like-minded, like-heartedness that really is the unlock to the tech developments and the progression to be able to handle the business challenges. So I don't know. I don't know if I say it every time, but I think it's worth bringing up because it surfaces this
I'm
kind
not
of
getting
stuff.
sick of it anytime soon. So we'll keep it rolling. We'll do it again next year, and it's perfect, man. But I completely agree. It's when you can meet like-minded people, you grow together, and you root for each other. And I think that's something that's always fun too about collaborating with you guys. Being in each other's corner is a big part of this business, and I think what makes it unique and strong.
I got to get this off my chest.
Uh-oh.
Let's go. I'm ready.
I've told Chad this
Chad's
before.
ready. He's like,
I've said this to Chad before, and I've offered no substantial evidence of such. But Chad looks.
Please don't guess who his father is. Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Where we're going with
brother-in-law's brother.
Yeah.
Your brother-in-law's brother. That's specific.
Well, it's kind of.
Oh, look at that. Look at that hair.
I can see it. See it.
You can see it.
That's
okay.
I can see the hair. Yeah.
He's like your brother, older brother that you went the fitness route
and he took it off
and he ate donuts.
He got a job with the Food Network.
He's gonna see this episode and I'll be curious his take.
I don't know if
we're
you guys
sending him the clip.
Wow, we're getting
the whole
photo collage.
Photo collection out.
It's like the nose, I'm trying to find.
This is ironic coming from three guys who look a lot alike on this camera.
I'm telling you.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Well, anyways, as
Chad,
Nacho Libre
I'm
would
asking
say.
the first question because this is like on the top of my mind, and we obviously have conversations and hang out with dealers and industry partners all across the country. But you guys have grown to be like I would, I don't know where you place yourself, but mid to large size agency, right? And you're dealing with clients all across the country. Obviously, you have account managers to handle all of that, but one of the things that I find really unique about the US as a retail environment is like what's going on in California, Idaho, Florida, New York, and North Carolina are wildly different.
Wildly different.
From a go-to-market strategy, if it's urban or suburban.
Yep.
When you think about like productizing yourself as an agency into the auto industry, how do you reconcile like, hey, we have a thesis, we have a way of doing things with, oh no, in this area for this dealer, for this thing, we have to like adjust and get that's like when you do that at scale, you need things that like this is our thesis at scale, but how do you get that down to the ground? I'd love to hear like how you've grown to learn how to do that over the years as an agency.
Man, it's a really great question, honestly, and I think one that we could spend the whole podcast talking about how to make it a little bit unique. And I think it does kind of start with that thesis. And for us, it's a process, a proven process, especially when it comes to SEO. And for us, you do have to have an understanding of just how are people searching at whole across the industry when it comes to Google and AI tools and the whole nine, which we can talk about throughout. But what I really believe, Kyle, is like it kind of takes it back to Paul's original point, is like the ability to care and ask that second question. How does this strategy go into your store? How does this match with what you typically do? So we tend to say that we come in with a blueprint, right? We have a blueprint of what is success. And it's, we need to do these pages and this, but then how do you change that, alter the blueprint based on location, size, market, all a little bit different, require different content pieces, different plans, different core models. And then even lately, the differences between prioritizing new, used, fixed operations. So I think it's coming in with that blueprint, but then being willing to take a step back and say, this blueprint as whole makes sense, but how do you tweak little parts of it to make sure that it's unique for Paul versus Kyle versus Michael, all in different parts? And so I think the thesis and the way you said that actually makes a ton of sense. But then the way that we roll it out is a lot of confirmation. And I believe you got to put that work in at the beginning of a relationship, but then never let it go. So every month, we're looking at it and saying, hey, Kyle, does this still make sense to your business? Hey, Paul, is this still flowing? Like, hey, I saw that Ford's doing this. How do we continue to roll that in?
I think that is a brilliant way to put that, asking that second question. Because everyone, you just see it so pervasively. People step up with a best practice, with a new piece of tech, right? With something that works somewhere else. And they say, here's the answer. And conversely, I think, a lot of dealers are looking for the answer, right? And the most important question is that second question.
100%.
How does it work here?
100%.
Or does it even work here?
We recently,
wow, that's a great way to put that.
We recently, about a year ago, started recording our client calls with that client team and our sales presentations too. And it's what we even noticed is like where you learn the most about a dealer is when they throw out a statement, I lost sales to this person. Well, why did that happen? Or man, I'm getting my butts kicked on CRV. Oh, is it by Toyota? Is it by another Honda store that's doing the same? That's second, third question. Whoo, like that's where you get into like the real juice of what's happening within the walls of the store, which I think is super cool.
Are you noticing over the last month? I was actually having a conversation with a digital marketing director for like a 13 store group yesterday. They're mid to high line.
Perfect.
And the like shift over the last, let's call it like mid-March through April, early May has been that they're starting to get new car leads, right? Like as an industry, we know that leads happen more often on used cars. There's a little bit more interesting shopping behavior happens on new cars, but the tide is shifting and people are actually submitting lead inquiries again on new cars, like when we had demand issues back about 3 years ago. Are you seeing that trend switch? And is there are there things people should be paying attention to like drive that low funnel shopping behavior when we've typically looked at like much higher funnel shopping behavior with new cars?
Oh, I love it. Yes, we have seen that switch. A lot of lead activity, and I mean, a lot of dealers had great close of Marches. Call it tariff pinup demand, you call it whatever it is. I think that we capitalized on a market that was ready for people to buy cars, which is ultimately the job of the dealership, right? I mean, that's what we're supposed to be doing. I think a couple of things that dealers can stay keen on as we go into this is one, continually it's I love the expression of getting back to the basics as well, because that's what a lot of the conversation I'm hearing from digital directors, from GMs is like, man, I'm listening to phone scripts. I'm sharpening what to say when a customer calls in from different markets, and all of those types of things I think are always going to be the most important. But when it comes to inventory pricing, and then for the love of God, just don't clutter up the website, right? Like it's our natural tendency right now to be
I want
like,
to print that. I want to print that on a T-shirt for a SodaCon. For the love of God,
don't
please
clutter
don't
the
clutter the
website.
it's what it
website.
is. We've all talked about it, right? But I think to your point, dealers do, especially right now, we're looking for that, well, what can I do to get one step ahead of the market, right? And there's a tendency to be like, well, let's throw another trade eval tool, or let's throw a button that tells them, get your pre-tariff price, whatever it is. We'll throw a 17th homepage banner up there that talks about it. But in reality, the easiest way to get that consumer to submit that lead that we really want is to make the process as seamless and frictionless as possible. And that's a lot of what we're preaching today, is capitalize on that low funnel and then make it easy for the customer to get to where they want and communicate with you.
This is making me think about a conversation I had with Michelle Denogene. I don't know if you guys remember Michelle from She Was With
Do we
Roadster.
remember?
Yeah.
Do we remember?
I remember how she taught me how to pronounce her last name.
Denim Jean. Did she do the denim jean thing?
Denim Jean.
Okay,
jeans.
so she said there is nothing worse in marketing than making a promise online that you can't fulfill in person.
I like that. There's another
Come on.
T-shirt worthy quote
and it's
right
got
there.
me thinking about this experience that you're talking about, and not cluttering a website, and making sure that the path to getting information that the customer wants at whatever phase of the buying journey they're in is accessible as possible. And then I think about, I know I'm going to be the one that brings in the AI to this conversation, which I think amplifies this thesis of marketing to operational integration,
100%.
which is human beings in and of themselves are okay at reasoning based on nuance and context. But when it really comes down to it, SEO and search for the last 20 plus years has been optimized around things like best car price, new lease deals. Because like when push comes to shove, with the trillions of data points that our brains are trying to process, that is the best thing we know how to come up with. Now you have AI that takes the reasoning away from us and just gives us the information we're looking for. And is using websites, is using the work that you're doing as an SEO as its data lake. And so I can't help but think, okay, well, now if search generative results or GPT or whatever it is that you're using to conduct a search, if I can now as a human being deploy more of my search activity to contextual. I'm a family of 5. We play soccer twice a week. We have 2 dogs. Instead of like, what do I search to find what I want? The AIs are going to take the reasoning from it. They're going to grab the information from your website. And now all the more important for you to fulfill the promise that AIs just made for you. When they come to buy and be like, hey, I'm the family of 5 that plays soccer and has 2 big dogs. You need to know what you've got in your inventory. You need to know what's on your website. You need to know the content that's being created, the things you're talking about. So what's your take on that? I know you guys are probably getting a million questions a day about, is AI killing us? Is SEO dead?
A few.
What's your take? How do you guys reconcile all of that together?
I think you hit the nail on the head, man. I mean, I think that SEO, to its point, is here, but it's rapidly changing. And anybody that doesn't acknowledge how quickly it's changing and how quickly it's going to continue to change, then that's where I would be worrisome, right? As an industry. I think that it's just going to be phenomenal to see. And it's just a crazy, I worry a little, like, are people just forgetting more? Because like the average person on Google is Googling over 200 times per month, but they're also going to ChatGPT another 30 times per month. And they're also going to Perplex. And it's like, so the amount of just questions we have and the information that's at hand is only going to continue to rapidly grow. I think right now we're in a great stage of experimentation, understanding, how does ChatGPT versus Grok versus Perplexity versus Gemini, how do they pull in these different pieces? And then how do you alter your SEO plan, adjust your strategy to incorporate those things, right? To your point, like that's a heck of a blog post, right? Like, what are the best SUVs for families of 5 with 2 dogs that travel every weekend, right? Like, that's probably something that we should incorporate or will incorporate, because that's where I think ChatGPT, even just my own buying journey, I just leased a new vehicle a couple months ago, and it was really eye-opening to go through it with ChatGPT and use it myself. And where did I go to Google? Where did I go to local SEO? And like see how all the pieces came into play as I was doing it as a consumer, right? And I needed ChatGPT to cut through the noise. I needed it to tell me, unbiased, and be able to show my wife like, hey, look, like this is what this is saying. To your point, let's take out the reason and really get factual. And then now, how do I find the inventory, things like that, which is where at the end of the day, when it comes down to intent and shopping, for at least now until ChatGPT alters, which I think they will, Google runs the intent game, right? When it's time for inventory, that's where I'm going back to Google, which was, again, so interesting to see.
Yeah, interesting.
The OEM sites, I think, will be interesting, because usually I would have to go to Hyundai and Kia and all those OEM sites to understand those differences. And ChatGPT did it for me in about,
yeah, it's like the high funnel stuff is going to lean more toward, like the research side of stuff is going to lean more toward those quicker.
At least today.
But we might still see a lot of inventory happening in like search behavior or like display ads and things like that. You all had quite a big announcement just a couple of weeks ago. I'd like to hear a little bit about what you guys are doing and how you're kind of challenging the space right now.
Yeah, actually, before I'm sorry to interrupt in that question, but as you were talking about that, I was like, I had a little bug in my head, and I was like, I just opened GPT, and I said, which car do you think is best on me based on my personality and family needs? Use what you already know about me. I didn't say I need this. I didn't say I need that.
Did it nail it?
First recommendation was a Toyota Sequoia, a new hybrid, talking about my kids and family travel and creative projects. It said it's practical and premium for your personality. It's luxurious but not pretentious. The hybrid. So,
but you can see that, right?
You're like, no, but based on what it knows about me, I'm like, I would consider a Sequoia.
Yeah.
Right. And then it gave me the next selection was a Rivian R1S.
Again,
a Volvo XC90 and a Ford Expedition Max.
All things I think make sense. It just doesn't.
Didn't
know that you were willing to fly to Charlie.
Like the information as far as like how many doors and how many this and fuel train, like that never got put into the internet anywhere.
Yeah. It's cool, man. I think it's,
dude.
I think
it told me I should get a Lucid Air Touring, so I'm gonna do it. I don't know how to pay for it.
I'm going for it.
Here's the thing that
Who
slightly
should I buy
worries
it from?
me, though.
Next question. This is fun.
Here's the thing that slightly worries me before we get to the announcement. What you guys have done. What worries me is that I would consider us and our circles power users and probably influencing the conversation of GPT. But I think of my own dear wife. Okay.
Yep. Right.
I feel like there's a God rest her soul after when you say it like that.
Guys, she is an 87-year-old woman trapped in a 39-year-old's body. And I think about my own children. I just had to have a conversation with my own children last night be I was like, you need to know AI. You need to know technology. It is not going anywhere. It will play a part in every job that you have. My wife, because of that statement, will refuse to use it till the day she does. And there is probably a larger demo, I would say, in the world of 8 billion people. By the time we all die, probably 9 billion people, majority of which will not even have access to it, and some of which will have never even heard of it. And so I worry about, like, how people are using Google today after 30 years, most still don't even know how to use Google properly.
Mhm.
My dear mother-in-law still believes that if she doesn't specifically click sign out from her Yahoo email, that her emails will float out into the ether.
Oh, yes.
So I wonder like what you're seeing based
Yeah.
on that. I mean, I know we have data on how Google is used and those
Totally.
sorts of things, but I think we tend to do that as an industry, and it's an important piece to factor in that there are power users and we are shaping a narrative because we're using it all day, every day, that there is still a large majority of car shoppers out there who
Yeah.
won't ever get past Google. Like there's a couple of generations here or a generation and a half of car buyers that probably will not even think to go to a GPT to even do what Paul just did.
I'll answer that, and then I'll give to your point, Kyle. So just in our own research recently, just this last month, we looked at an Audi store, progressive brand. I think we would all agree in New York, New Jersey, big market, sophisticated market, and a big store. They are averaging about 4,000 visits a month from Google Organic. Last month, 6 people referred from ChatGPT, according to Google Analytics. That's less than Bing and equal to DuckDuckGo. And nobody told me that DuckDuckGo was going to kill SEO, right? So my point is just that, yes, I do think that we have a habit as progressive people and early adopters, right? We are in the early adopter wave still, and we are royal in it together. I mean, like Dave, who, you guys all know with Reunion, he's the most active user I know. I mean, he's in there every day. In fact, sometimes I'm like, which one of you am I talking to? The Dave or ChatGPT Dave? I don't even know. And it's kind of the same guy at this point. It's great, but there's a lot, so yes, I think that it's going to continue to grow. It is growing. I mean, it's fastest growing thing in the world, right? But yeah, Michael, to your point, like it hasn't trickled all the way down to people, buying a car off of it yet, right? We're still ending back on Google, which I think is good.
Yeah. I mean, my search right here, I said, who should I buy it from? And it gave me recommendations. It recommended Carter Myers Automotive because I already collaborate with them and knows that.
Yeah.
It did bring up Westher Toyota, but it doesn't know. It said you've likely crossed paths with them through ASOTU circles. And then it offers me for the expedition, interestingly enough, it offered me 2 stores that I've never, ever searched or typed in. I know them all from my previous business. And it says like Friendly Ford, Geneva, a smaller, more community-driven store worth looking at for a personal experience. It got that information somewhere.
Wow.
Probably from reviews, man. My sneaky, I'm not sneaky. I think that ChatGPT is going to bring back reviews stronger than anything, because I think that's what I think is. And I've done searches, here we have local clients that I know the SEO is really good and I know the search is really good. And sometimes it won't always recommend them because they don't have reviews equal to or better a store that's a little bit closer, even a little bit further away. So I think it's going to be interesting to see.
And then it says you might be able to leverage your industry leverage and relationships by mentioning, Chad Graves. So
wow.
Just leverage the heck out of that.
It's like, do you know who I'm friends with?
That's
and
amazing.
He even looks like Michael Cirillo's brother-in-law's brother.
Best friend, cousin.
Chad, tell us about what's going on.
Yeah, super exciting, guys. A couple weeks ago, release what our biggest release to date. And I'll rewind a little bit. We started visualizing SEO a couple years ago with Keylift, and it was in spreadsheets at first. And our friend Ben Hadley, I remember it like it was yesterday at NADA. He was like, "Dude, you got to get this out of spreadsheets and into like a dashboard." And I was like, "Damn, I hate a dashboard." But
right.
There we are. And then we added our Google Business Profile stuff, and then we added our search stuff. But just a couple of weeks ago, we've officially branded it Altitude, which is really exciting. Search Beyond Limits. And the reason why it's Search Beyond Limits, guys, is because we're also integrating sales and inventory data directly into it as well. So now, and the best quote I've heard about this from a GM, he said, I've always had to speak your language. Now you're speaking mine.
Come on now.
And that was
speed of trust right there, baby.
It was
Let's
awesome.
Go.
And that's when I knew we were onto something. It was actually at the Carter Myers organization. And so it was great. They were an early adopter and beta tester for us. So, now instead of saying, "Hey, Michael, how was your month last month?" And, leads are up, we're saying, "Hey, Michael, this is where you lost market share last month. This is who you lost it to.
Wow.
This is the model that we have the most opportunity to. And hey, we're thinking about bumping up that in our content selection, and we're going to change bid adjustments based on competition, market sales, and the volume of inventory you have on the lot. Oh, by the way, you're also priced really fair. And, let's put that message in the ads as well. And so it's just really changing the narrative, bringing the data at it from a really exciting point for our team, for those client folks. It's something we're super excited about, guys. And the user experience is just,
cool.
it's
So
really top
practical.
notch. Yeah.
And that's called Altitude. I love the
Altitude.
name too.
Thank
love
you.
that name.
Thank you.
Got to have a
That's
good
great.
branded name.
I
like
appreciate
it.
that. We're really excited about it. It's out now today, and it just brings a really good sophistication level to technology that I think is very easy for dealers to get around and play with and understand, and it gives them value to, quite frankly, what I think matters the most. The leading indicator of this industry is ultimately sales. We take everything else out. That's what we're judged on at the end of the day. And if we can help that, we can help our dealers do that. Then ultimately, I feel like that's our job as a digital marketing agency, which is exciting.
Bang. Well, talk about bringing it full circle right into the end. We talked about SEO, we talked about AI, we talked about customer journey, and now you're able to visualize that for your partners. I think that's tremendous. Chad, man, it's always a pleasure to hang out with you. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely,
here
guys.
on Auto Collabs.
Thanks so much, guys. It's always a pleasure, and I look forward to continue supporting. I'll be back next year, so can't wait.
Okay, Michael, it was a bit of a stretch.
I'm going to say a 7.
A 7
7 out of
seven's
10.
good. Like if we're talking Dave Portnoy, a 7's like a really good slice.
Right. I mean, it's,
Right.
I
That's
can
a
only
great
get to an
slice.
8. Right.
Yeah, that's fair. The donuts versus the workout, the chiseled chin versus the rounded elbow. The rounded. That's we'll see. It's close. So.
Different.
What I love the funnest one for me was like, oh yeah, super regressive Audi store in a major metro that's probably utilizing GPT. 6.
Yeah.
Like, we're fine.
Which is as many that came from DuckDuckGo.
I'll caveat that just a bit, just that I don't think auto websites have caught up to the schema structure necessary for GPT to understand it, or are thinking about SEO when it comes to high funnel research, which is totally fine. But if you want to get in those consideration matrix, you got to think about technical SEO. But yeah, it's still the adoption curve of AI as a search mechanism.
And I don't want to be that guy. Like, I don't want to be that guy or come across as that guy that's like, it's not going to be what it seems. But it's like, no, just acknowledging. I think he said it well, acknowledging like we're in an early adoption zone right now. And by nature, all of us early adopters are going to be excited about it. We're using it a lot. We're testing it. We're putting it through its paces, and we're excited about it because it's doing things like, I mean, I don't know if I told you guys about how it saved me $200 a month on my AT&T bill.
Absolutely, you did.
And now,
story.
I mean, think about the implications. I mean, chief of staff at ASOTU of bringing everyone's disc profiles in, building it, and finding who works best together and who has friction points together just based on personality types. For it to do that, that was kind of my point about the reasoning. 2 years ago, I would have to sit here for hours and hours and hours and reason through all of that,
analyze and think and not get distracted.
And I mean, I think back thousands of years ago. Why do we know about Socrates today or Leonardo da Vinci or any of these guys? Because their ability to think and reason was just slightly better than everyone else's at the time, right? They were educated. Everyone was ignorant, not educated. Their ability to think and reason was so much greater. Now, I would say, based on how education works today, I bet you anything, most people in the world today actually have the ability to reason like a Socrates, but because it's the norm, it doesn't stand out. Now you have GPT that can reason based on gazillions of data points faster and more effectively than our brains can, which pushes us into this zone of then I can just move to action faster. I don't need to waste my time on the reasoning. I can move to action faster.
I mean,
I
don't
feel
know
like
that
that's a whole podcast.
it is. I mean, first and foremost, I don't know that I agree on the reasoning thing. I mean, have you ever been on the internet?
No, I'm talking about GPT though.
Oh,
No, but the ability to reason.
you're saying no.
Hey, GPT, just do Socrates.
Humans
Don't do the
reasoning with
internet,
That's,
please.
oh, got you. Okay. I was gonna say. I thought you were talking about.
Like, imagine
society.
if
I was
we
like,
were having this conversation in Socrates' time, people would be sitting at our feet being like, what?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's the norm. Like, we know everybody we have conversations with have conversations like this.
So I saw a tweet this morning. I don't know when this podcast is going to be released, but basically it was the announcement of the next version of Grok coming out. And basically, I think it was Elon Musk made the post. He said Grok 2.5, maybe it was. He says, is going to be reasoning based on first principles. And the answers and the reasoning it comes up with do not exist on the internet,
Whoa.
which is a whole different ball
See?
game.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
What
On
a
that
time to
note,
be alive.
On that note, send them, boys.
we hope you had a great time. This was an excellent episode of the podcast. On behalf of Kyle Mountsier, Michael Cirillo, and myself, thank you as always for listening to Auto Collabs.
Welcome to Auto Collabs. Why are we recording?
Are we rolling yet?